Hi guys, something like 10 years ago, I made a video demonstrating why Islam is so incredibly weak. One of my points at the time on my list was apologetics, and I showed what I thought of the level and the contents of what Islam apologists were proclaiming. And here's a short clip of what I did at the time. Let's go to apologetics. And to sum it all up and do a spoiler alert up front, the level of what Muslim defenders of Islam present to us non-Muslims, come on, it's pitiful and appalling. Confronted with a contentious issue, we are merely deceived, told to go and read a different sentence and ignore the one which is causing us concerns. It is now 2025 and nothing much has changed. Only that Muslims are no longer buying it, and Islam is now imploding as Muslims are running away from Islam in droves, looking for alternatives. Now, what I'm doing is simply presenting my opinion, where I'm completely aware that I will never be able to completely cover all the weaknesses in Islam in its current form today, and that my impact is pretty low level. I'm aware of that, because I don't lie, and I am not myself considered to be an Islam scholar, but I do what I can. Now, to demonstrate the level of apologetics today, I'm using an example of an Islam apologist who, in my eyes at least, is amazingly dishonest and demonstrates that Islam apologetics has simply not progressed, not one bit, and has not been able to adjust to the reality today, where the information on Islam is now widespread and readily available. Now, I took this sample from a channel called Muslim Lantern, where a guy is trying to sell Islam to unsuspecting victims, while Islam is not a product that is in any way useful. He pretends that he's able to answer questions, and what he lacks in education and information, he more than makes up in arrogance. So he goes on, and it becomes very obvious that he's ill-equipped to answer questions. Statements like, there is no nature. I mean, this shows any attentive listener that this Muslim is like a hypnotized lantern who rejects reality and exists only inside his tiny bubble, where an imaginary God is responsible for anything and everything. Okay, let's listen to his clip of what he says there and see what happens there.
Women inherit half of what a man inherits, isn't it?
That's incorrect. Where did you get that from? In many cases, women will inherit more than men. For instance, the Quran mentions if a man dies or someone dies, and then there's only one daughter left, the daughter takes half of the inheritance. There's two daughters left, they take 2/3. They'll take more than uncles, for example, or grandfathers. So they will take more than men. So it's got nothing to do with specifically the gender of the person. In certain cases and scenarios, they will take the same. The grandfather and grandmother will take 1/6 each. So in certain situations, women will take more than men. In some situations, men and women will take the same. In some situations, men will take more than women. Why? Because the financial responsibility of a woman in Islam is not the same as the financial responsibility of a man in Islam. So it is not the case as you claim, just simply false.
Oh, okay. It's frightening and quite gross in my eyes. There's a saying out there, without lies, Islam dies. And this Muslim demonstrates quite conclusively why this is actually true. He is confronted by someone who asks, in Islam, women inherit half of what a man inherits, isn't it? And his answer is, that is incorrect, and scoffs at the question.
That's incorrect. Where did you get that from?
He even asks, where did you get that from? As though this is something totally wrong and he has never heard of this. What is telling is that he now starts off by answering, in many cases. Okay, to me, this shows that in some cases, they do, in fact, inherit less. So, I don't know, this is off to a bad start. What I find interesting is that he shows no sign in his body language that he is lying and intentionally misleading the questioner. Nothing. Cold deception, doing exactly what I identified 10 years ago. So, what is this all about? Well, the question is referring to sentences in the Koran which state that women inherit half of what the man inherits. But, and that's a big but I must admit, it states that if there is a male counterpart, if they are the deceased's children. So 411, Allah concerning your children, that the male, the portion of 2 females, in other words, double what the women get. And the last sentence in this chapter, the male will have the share of 2 females. And this is where the Islam Apologist, Muslim lantern, goes into deceit mode. Instead of reacting to what is intended and meant by the questioner, he pretends it's a general issue, as if the part the Quran does specify is not bad enough.
Why? Because the financial responsibility of a woman in Islam is not the same as the financial responsibility of a man.
Okay, a lie is saying something known to be untrue in order to deceive someone. And this Muslim lantern shows he knows exactly that he is lying, i.e. saying something he knows is wrong in order to deceive others, because he now turns to the standard mantra: women and men have different financial obligations, which he wouldn't have to do if there were no injustice here. But there definitely is. The man is a degree above the woman, according to 228. And the male is in charge of a woman, according to 434. So there's many of these sentences. So what it says is that men spend their wealth on maintenance and women obey. But they get to keep whatever wealth they have for themselves because of these different financial obligations. Now, the questioner, it's obvious. He was absolutely correct. Yes, a daughter inherits half of what their brother inherits. You can easily check this by going to any of the numerous Sharia-conform inheritance calculators, which you find a lot of on the net. And then you just enter an estate value of, say, I don't know, 120,000, and you look at the results. Like here, it's very obvious what the ratio is. Man inherits double that of what the sister inherits. Easy. There's no 2 ways about it. And if you think I'm making this up, here's the complete process. So anyone can open any one of the abundant calculators and will get the same identical result every single time. You can't deny this. These are the facts. And that is what an honest person would have said. The Muslim lantern, the Muslim apologist, however, is not an honest person. He is deliberately misleading the questioner and anyone watching this video. It's a primitive, dishonest distraction. It's the intentional deception to pretend Islam is not that bad. Sorry, it is. And if someone is too stupid to realize that it's 2025 and we can immediately check answers and provide facts, they will land flat on their faces every time. His examples are also quite silly, as they rule that daughters inherit 2/3 if there are more than 2 of them. And this does not even mention any males. And, it gets worse, because it gets him into hot water. As a portion of 2/3 of the inheritance gone, it leaves very little for others. So adding the portions of more family members immediately gets you into an improper fraction. A mistake in the Quran, one that can't be explained away, corrected or defended. It's irrefutable. You can, in today's day and age, even if you are not an Australian Barbie, ask ChatGPT or one of the derivatives and get a written and more honest answer, like this one. In the Quran, the inheritance rules are quite specific. For example, if there's a son and a daughter, the son receives twice the share of the daughter. That's what the questioner was asking about. And it continues, this is based on the principle that men have financial responsibilities, whereas women have different financial obligations. There you go. It's the same thing. So this is, Muslim Apologetics 101, copied by ChatGPT. And if you're too lazy to type, you simply ask. Ask and you will be answered. What does it say in the Quran about the inheritance rules regarding sons and daughters?
In the Quran, specifically in Surah An-Nisa, verse 11, it mentions that a son receives twice the inheritance of a daughter.
There you have it. And now,
So they will take more than men. So it's got nothing to do with specifically the gender of the person.
So unlike the lie of what an apologist like Muslim Lantern is spreading, it has everything to do with the gender. Just simply stating it is false does not cut it anymore today. So I don't know. Conclusion, my side, my opinion. Someone like Muslim Lantern is more like a caboose lantern, not in front, but way behind everything, at the back and behind of what is moving forwards. All the not so clever lantern illuminates is the general inability of apologists to accept facts, reality, or truth. In the past this happened, in the present it's happening, and it will most probably also happen in the future. What we see is a blatant display of incompetence. It seems that apologists suffer from a chronic lack of information and a pitiful lack of education. If you don't know what evolution as a theory says, leave it, don't talk about it. And if you don't know the difference between abiogenesis and evolution, it's even worse. Don't go there. It has nothing to do with the existence of your God anyway. So we see a mind-boggling level of indifference towards facts and truth. And all he does is it's this exhibiting this flippant arrogance and even condescension, and then throwing around half-baked words and sentences and things he doesn't even understand. But luckily, in spite of all these marketing and whitewashing efforts, Islam in its current form is dying fast, because Islam apologists today are being caught out. They are lying through their teeth, deceiving, distracting, obfuscating, and doing everything to avoid questions by people with some knowledge about Islam. But because the level of knowledge has increased exponentially over the last couple of years, we, Muslims and non-Muslims alike, are no longer fooled that easily by primitive apologetics, no matter how self-assured they come across. And, in my eyes at least, apologists are starting to realize the turn of the tide. They are actually cowards, so that they turn off comments under their videos completely, hiding from questions. During his last live stream, the apologist I'm using as an example imposes every restriction available to him, like demanding a camera, for example, knowing that critics like me constantly receive death threats from agitated followers of Islam who have no answers. So these people would like very much to simply silence me using violence, thus forcing me to go and to buy a camera to make me identifiable if I want to ask a question on his live streams. This puts me into real danger. And I've been shot at once by Muslims, and I don't want to have that again. But this is what he wants, and ultimately I admit defeat and will not join because I am too scared to get into real danger again. But it shows just how afraid he really is, like a scared little girl. Welcome to Islam Apologetics 2025. Thanks for taking an interest in the video, and if you like it, give me a thumbs up, and if you don't, give me a thumbs down. But do me a favor and tell me why. Thanks. Ciao for now.